is meeting 5, 4, 5.
5.
Meeting number.
I'm Brendan, I'm mediator for round 1.
I am Needy. I'm party 1.
I'm Molly, party 2 for round 1.
Okay, and then everyone else is observing.
I'm
Observing.
Charlie, I'm an observer.
Shannon observing.
And Andrea observing, you can see me in the reflection.
Oh, clever. Alright. Well, prior to this, we have the two parties together. They were in separate rooms and we brought them in. The chairs usually wouldn't be this close, but due to room constraints, they are. Because they want to hold hands. So we should, let's begin this mediation. Hi, I'm Brendan, I'm the mediator. Would you like to introduce yourself real quick? Parties?
I'm Molly. I am a new mother, married, and my husband and I are both full-time attorneys.
Okay, and then party.
Hi, I'm Needy. I'm an associate pastor. I run church.
So as I said before, prior to this mediation session, they were in separate rooms. So otherwise, welcome to mediation, you two. Today this is going to be a totally voluntary process, and everything here is confidential. So this is going to be a verbal agreement that we're having here, and otherwise, when you guys feel totally comfortable here, this is a place where you can talk, vent, let your innermost demons out if you need to. Otherwise, we have snacks and drinks here available for you guys. There's a bathroom over there if you guys need to go to the bathroom. Otherwise, just to let you know, this mediation is a great alternative towards litigation, so it saves you money, and you guys need to make the decisions here, unlike going to court where the judge makes the decisions, you lose a lot of your rights, and it's a win-lose situation. Here today, we can all win. So otherwise, let's start with, so what I've heard based on what I've got the brief overview of what's happening here, it's the neighbors, Molly, the neighbors are complaining about the church supposedly abusing children, apparently, but that's what I've heard. And otherwise, let's since Molly, let's hear what you have to say based off what I've received from the courts.
Absolutely. So, for about several months now, the church has issued a daycare program for young children. It's a preschool called the Little Tots. My husband and I are full-time attorneys. We trade off on who takes care of our newborn child, managing full-time schedules. Our neighborhood is very upscale, very sophisticated, and you could say wealthy neighborhood. Everyone is pretty well respected. But for the several months that the church has implemented this new preschool, all I hear is just crying, wailing, little children. And it's to the point where I'm getting the idea that nothing is being done to help these kids. I feel that they are being neglected. I feel that no one is watching out for them. And I'm not trying to be anti-church or anything. I'm just saying as a preschool in general, I feel that they're being neglected, and I feel that all of the sounds are just echoing through the entire neighborhood. I'm not the only neighbor, and I'm not the only community member that feels the same way. There have been multiple neighbors that have tried getting in, talking to teachers, talking to the person who runs the daycare program, and no one has heard back from anyone except for the church's secretary. We can't get any kind of explanation. We can't get any sort of reason why all of this crying from young children is happening. Children are supposed to be nurtured. They're supposed to be in a very comfortable environment. And when children don't know what to do, they cry as if they're in help, they're in need. I'm a full-time parent. I'm also a full-time attorney. I know what it feels like and what it sounds like when a child is desperate or in need some attention or some caring or some love. And this church's new preschool is not providing any of those things. Not only is the noise and the children crying and all that an issue, but parents, because they are just so desperate to pick up their children, are causing traffic jams. I've been in 2 car accidents since this new preschool has been implemented. Parents are being reckless picking up their children. There are doors flying from every which way, stopping in the middle of the road just to have their kid walk out in the middle of the street. And these are like toddlers, so like probably from, like if they're 2, teacher might will probably walk them over, a parent will sign them out. But sometimes the parent will just honk and say, come here, and run across the street. First, that's just very unsafe. It's a church. I would feel that safety is a big concern. But I just feel that ever since this daycare center has been around, there has been just very negative things. The whole neighborhood hears children crying. It's supposed to be an upscale kind of oasis of a neighborhood, and all we hear is just crying and wailing from young children. And it seems like they are being completely neglected and nothing is happening to improve this. I've put in several complaints. No one has given me any kind of explanation. I've tried setting meetings with the director of the daycare program. Never gotten a response back. My time, yes, it's precious and it's limited. So if I feel like I can make room as a concerned parent and a concerned community member, I feel like that should be taken advantage of. Especially also, like, I don't want to say, ooh, I'm a lawyer, like you better be careful of me. But since I am a lawyer, I would think that the church or the program director would want to know as far as like legalities and repercussions of actions such as this. And the jungle gym is in shambles. It's not well kept. It looks dangerous. It looks sketchy. It does not look safe. So I feel like the integrity of the preschool program is not up to date with the high class and the sophisticatedness of the neighborhood. I just feel like it's improperly placed in our neighborhood, and I feel like something needs to be done, because not only is the community's reputation at stake, but so are the lives and the well-being and the sanity of our children.
Alright, well, obviously, I see where you're coming from, because you're a new mother and everything, so everything goes hand in hand with you and children and the whole safety issue, so I see that as a big concern. Can you exactly explain the whole layout of the neighborhood to me exactly?
So there are multiple roads. The church is pretty much in the center of the neighborhood. It's our neighborhood is very, I guess it has hills. It has multiple roads that lead up into hills, and the church is more at the base of our community. And so when you start something that's down below, like the church, and when there's a lot of noise, it amplifies and it travels and it goes up. So the church is in the middle, and there's just houses surrounding all of it, and it's more like in a gated area. So it's all homes.
Do you feel that over exaggerates maybe some of the crime in a way, or the
absolutely,
concerns, or what do you feel?
But I feel that regardless of the layout of the community, if it's a constant problem, and if I'm not the only one complaining about hearing babies cry, I feel like something needs to be done. If it has that kind of echoing effect, then the church and the program itself needs to be modified. I mean, I understand that kids don't want nap time. I understand that kids don't want to come in for recess or things like that. I completely understand. But it needs to be controlled, and it's not. Because
So you feel personally responsible for
I
us
feel
being
like
part of the
if,
community for,
Yes.
for the children in this program.
absolutely, because children don't know any better at this point in their life. They don't know. All they feel is like, if I'm being neglected, I'm gonna cry. If I feel not loved, if I feel like I'm not getting any attention, I'm gonna cry. And I feel like the church is kind of taking advantage of their power and their authority in doing what they want and handling children.
And just a personal, do you go to church? Do you go to this church, or do you attend this church, or is it a?
As a religious, or as far
Are you
as putting my
religious?
kid
Yeah.
in it.
Either or.
Well, my husband and I split time with our child. He is not in daycare right now. We personally feel like he's too young to be in daycare with other children. But we attend church like sporadically. We go like Easter, Christmas, like big holidays, but not every Sunday. No.
Okay, alright. Well, let's hear a little side of Needy story from the pastor over here, and we'll get back to you.
Absolutely.
So, Needy, would you like to share exactly what is happening at the preschool?
Yes, definitely. Okay, so since I'm an associate pastor of the church, I try to manage financially and to the church. We're a non-profit organization. We don't have like source of income, so we basically decided to have little daycares. We have like we have a large large number of rooms, like which is like similar to classrooms, and we decided to make those classrooms as for little kids as to run daycare called Little Tots for Children, and so that we would earn some money to financially support, like do other activities in church. Like we host Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts troop meetings, and we even create an organize activities such as like church greetings, barbecues, and potlucks. We have social events too, so for those we need money, and so we decided to have a little daycare, and it is running. It was running fine, but lately one of the Mr. and Mrs. neighbors, I would say, they recently moved in and they started complaining about like they hear us shouting to kids like shut up, like they also complain that we don't take care of the children very well, but and that's about it. That's the story, and I believe that neighbors are just being oversensitive. I believe that we are taking care of children, but they're kids. They're gonna scream, they're gonna yell. I understand that they don't want to come to, like she said, Mrs. Neighbor said, she's like they don't want. Sometimes they don't want to come to recess, or they don't want to come to plays or anything like school, like daycare activities. So for like having a daycare is financially supports the church, and so I I'm willing to talk to neighbors about it. I'm willing to like find a regulation for them to be sure that we are taking care of children. We are not screaming at them. We are not torturing them. We are nurturing them very properly, nicely, and so I don't know.
So I just want to get this right. So you just feel frustrated
Yeah.
that you're a little bit misunderstood because these daycares are all for good intentions to help you guys raise money to continue your
Our
efforts for the
activities,
community.
yeah, funds for like people, communities, because we have very good community. We have attorneys, doctors. They're all around the church. We have like rich community, but still we need the money to financially support our activities for like schools, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, weddings, meetings, barbecues. So this is really our hope.
So is this been ruining your guys' reputation as a church, and have you seen like less like usual people come to the church for activities and everything? Do you
Yes.
hear these complaints?
Yes. No,
Oh, no?
we haven't heard any complaints to
Gotcha.
it. So Mr. and Mrs. Neighbors moved in.
Oh, so Juan moved in?
Yeah.
Okay, do you feel that, have you talked to her yet? Have you talked to Molly yet and her family about?
No, I haven't, but I'm willing to.
Because apparently it's been not just her complaining, but it's other neighbors of her that are complaining also about these so-called anomalies happening with the children, but just based off what Molly said. But do you just feel like it's misunderstood? And
Yes,
you feel
just
like,
a misunderstanding. I'm a pastor. I know the children are, from God's blessings. We're not gonna scream or yell or like torture the children who are given by God's. So this is totally a misunderstanding.
of course,
I don't believe that we have ever done anything wrong to the kids.
okay. Molly,
I don't believe I said that the church and its faculty of the daycare was abusive. I don't think I said that they did anything intentional. But when I say abuse, I feel it's more of a neglect. I feel like it's not being addressed. I feel that it's just being overlooked, and because children are children, I feel like, oh, that's just what they do, is the mentality of this daycare. I feel that all of this, well, children are gonna cry, they're gonna scream. There's a certain point where it reaches excessive amount. And the point where usually daycare is not like it's not usually from like an 8 to 5 o'clock gig. It's more of an afternoon set period. It's like probably, if you think about it, 4 to 5 hours most. If I'm hearing cries and screams 8 times a day within that 5-hour window.
We have 60 children in our daycare. So if you're not willing, if you hear crying, we have 60 children in our daycare. So that means every child is gonna cry, and you would be hearing them like weeping. But we try to make them quiet. But I don't know how do you say. Try to tell them oh, don't cry, it's okay, mommy's gonna be here. But some kids are just,
I guess it's
they just can't stay away from others.
That's understandable. New kids do have.
Yeah.
I understand that every child has that initial separation anxiety. I understand that. And I'm not trying to say that just because it's a church that things are going to run perfectly smooth. But I feel like there are a lot of things that need to be taken in consideration. One, the landscape of our neighborhood. Yes, I understand that you don't have control over the setup, but you should take that into consideration. For example, there are many psychologist practices in our neighborhood. Psychology requires peace, silence, meditation, all of that, and you can't necessarily do that when there's screaming and crying. So I just feel like there needs to be modification within their system.
So, and you said that
I've
you failed to contact them.
They
You contacted
they
them,
have
and they failed to contact you back.
me. I mean, the only way that I have been able to set a meeting with the pastor is by suing them.
Okay.
So, I would be more than, I'm an attorney. That's what I do for a living. I try to negotiate. I try to fix problems for a living on a daily basis. I would so much rather not be here filing a lawsuit against a pastor. That is just very contradicting, I feel, in my opinion. I do not want to sue a person of God. That is just not my intention. But if that's the only way that I can have a face-to-face interaction, I will do it, because
did you contacted us?
Yes, I have. Multiple times.
We have a secretary that,
Yes, Karen. I speak with her multiple times.
yes. So have you tried setting appointment with her?
Absolutely. I have not gotten any response from her or from you.
I feel like she's just frustrated. She's more concerned for the children.
I do understand. I'm not against, like, I'm not, yeah, I do believe that kids, they need to be like, whatever she said, yeah, like, kids needs to be in proper care. But from my perspective, I don't think me or my staff members have done like improper caring to kids.
So you feel that you take care of the kids properly, and
Yes.
that it's just,
crying.
it's just basic nature of a child to
Yeah,
do what they're
like-
doing, and it's some
Exactly.
of it's out of your control, and
Yeah.
you're doing your
We
best
can't,
to keep
we
them
can't
safe.
really control kids like crying or screaming or yelling.
You can
We can just-
modify it.
We can try, like, yeah, we do modify it. Having over 60 children in house, I think even one kid cry every an hour, say we have like 60 kids, so obviously you're gonna hear crying all 8 hours a day. You're gonna hear that, but we do try to make them.
Well, what you're saying,
Settle
so
down.
Edie's saying is she has a lot of kids in her care, and with how many faculty members do you have exactly take care of these 60 kids you say per se?
I would say we have 5 or
5?
6.
Wow.
6, so you have like 6,
No, wait. We don't.
one per 10 kids?
And are all 60 of these kids in one main classroom at a time, and there are just 6 different aides
Yes.
that go around in the classroom, or is it separated by room? Because that will make a huge difference in your program.
I would say we have like 10.
10
Yeah.
10 staff
10
members here?
staff members.
Alright, so 10, so there's like one
6
staff member for 6
6
children?
children. Yeah.
And could you explain your program in more depth?
Like
Like,
programs for kids or for like schools?
well, the daycare program, which
Like a
all
regular
the
have-
schedule.
We have 10 kids, 60 kids and 10 staff members. Sometimes we have like short of kids, but approximately we have like 60 kids in daycare and 10 staff members. And the family brings the parents. They bring kids around like 8ish or 9ish, like in the middle of 8ish, 9ish, and they stay. Some of them leave early, but most of them leave like at 5. And then in the morning we have breakfast, and the lunches and breakfast, like foods, they're all packed by their parents. We don't do the catering, like we don't do food service. because we don't know what they like
Kids
to eat
like.
or not. Yeah, parents know better. So we have morning breakfasts after they like brought in to the daycare, and then after that we have little like games, or like they just kind of chill out the park or like backyard or anywhere like that's which is like safer environment for them we have. And then after that we have like we try to make them sit in a place like as a full group member.
So, did they during like specific times, like are they like separated at times, like from like 6 to like one member, staff member, in like a
No,
separate room, or
they're-
like they brought to, they're all together at the same
They're
time?
all together. It's just
Yeah.
that the 10 staff members are like taking care like all whatever like their children at a time, or so yeah. And then we make them like